to Heroes Forge, a Heroes of the Storm podcast.
What's up, Forgers? Gobble gobble, and welcome to Season 2, Episode number 98 of Heroes Forge, a community-driven podcast all about Heroes of the Storm. As always, this podcast is brought to you by our outstanding supporters on patreon.com/HeroesForge. This is your show host, as always, Jeff Reynolds, and I'm here with the co-host of the show, who's more awesome than leftover turkey sandwiches. It's Kristen Ashton.
Hey, and isn't that the best part of holidays in general, right? Because it's turkey for Thanksgiving. We never really had a meat around Christmas, but it was ham for Easter. And those sandwiches in the lunch boxes were so great.
Oh, the best. And you know, everybody's going to have them at work tomorrow. And I'm sure a lot of us had them today. For those of you that don't know, American Thanksgiving was on Thursday, a time to celebrate with friends and family. All that is good and have way too much food to eat, and I know that food usually lasts a few days after. I even just had leftovers before we started this show, so it may be moving a little bit slower than normal.
Nothing wrong with that, because that stuff keeps. I mean, there's so much butter and everything that it keeps for at least a good 2 months.
Yes, so unhealthy, but so healthy mentally. Let's talk about some awesome stuff that is going on in our Heroes of the Storm world out there. First and foremost, I had the awesome opportunity again to join Kyle Ferguson's Team League stream on Saturday, Kristen, and I think I still am shaking.
It was an epic set of games. Now, listeners, if you don't watch Team League, I implore you to go check out this past week's Team League event, and more specifically, the Tomb of the Spider Queen game, because this thing was one of the most epic games. I mean, all of us were just riddled with adrenaline. We couldn't even go back into Hero League. We had to finish the show with 2 non-serious games just to get over the hump of how crazy Spider Queen was.
Yeah, it was a ton of fun, and it just shows, and Kristen and I were talking about this before the show started today, it just shows how coordinated play and having someone that's calling shots and making things happen on the battlefield and making those decisions and having everybody just listen, it can go over really well. Spoiler alert, in that specific game, it does, and it's a ton of fun, and I think we all are so excited that we don't even have time to get excited. I mean, we're all sitting there kind of catching our breath.
Oh, totally. There was silence. And I think it, too, also speaks to the importance of never giving up in Heroes, because we were losing this entire game. We were even down 3 levels at some point. A boss had been grabbed. We were down 2 keeps, maybe all of the keeps. I don't even remember anymore. But all it rested on was one single team fight. And everybody on our team kept their heads in the game. And that team fight went just splendidly.
Yeah, it was great. And on top of that, it was an ambush, which was a ton of fun. But like you said, we had to play some some decompressing games before and after all of our games. Just kind of, get in the groove, warm up a little bit. But man, that brawl is incredible. That is so fun.
Right. I mean, I think this is their first PvE brawl, and it's this escape from Braxis where it's you, 4 other people, and you choose your team beforehand. You choose between warriors, assassins, supports, and specialists. So you kind of craft a 5-man, and then it's you versus Zerg waves, infested bosses, and then a giant boss at the end with some really great mechanics I'd never seen in the game before.
Oh, I know. At the end, the boss that does the Kerrigan combo with the stun from all directions. I mean, it is so cool. And while we're playing it, we're all thinking, this feels like a WoW dungeon meets StarCraft encounter meets Heroes of the Storm. It felt so fun. I know the community out there is doing speed runs. They're doing crazy stuff out there. It's a blast. And Blizzard, if you're listening, bravo. And please, we want more.
Yeah, the PvE, I think the important thing is that it's you versus computers with some really, really cool ideas behind them. So it's not you versus others and you losing to people who simply outclass you. It's you generally having a chance up against some very interesting mechanics.
Yeah, it's a ton of fun. Get out there, get your 3 games in, get your loot chest, and hopefully get something that you want in that loot chest. Next thing on the notes here is the 100th episode hype. We are on episode 98. Only 2 to go until we're on our 100th episode, celebrating 2 years of Heroes Forge every single week out there. I'm hyped for it, Kristen. I don't know about you.
I think the time goes fast, and it's funny how 200 falls right during the holidays as well. It seems like all of our big milestones really work to our advantage because we're already celebrating the holidays.
Might as well celebrate our 100th episode. I mean, it's going to be great. Make sure you're following us on Twitter at Forge Heroes for all of the stuff that we're cooking up behind the scenes to bring to our listeners, to our patrons, to everyone out there that listens and supports the show. We've got some really special stuff lined up. So make sure you follow us on Twitter for updates on that. Again, it's at Forge Heroes. I'm still playing Hand of Fate 2 on the side of other games here. What about you, Kristen?
Nice. I just kicked off Deus Ex Human Revolution, and I'm loving it because it's very much RPG, where you get to choose how you interact with people, and conversations you have to kind of figure out what the people want to hear so that you can get what you want.
Ooh, sounds like Divinity 2.
It does, except less drugs, I would say.
Yes, that's right. We do play Divinity 2 on a stream every Sunday at 2 p.m. Pacific on twitch.tv/Kyle Ferguson. Over there today, we had tons of battles. We fought in an arena, and we even smoked some herb.
We did. Well, we had to make an herb based upon what we wanted. And then in the fight, we were blindfolded. One of our characters got to kissing spiders, which kind of gave a buff, but it didn't. And then you summoned a black widow, which was a spider made of skeletons.
Yeah, it's crazy. These characters are doing crazy stuff in this game. Check it out. It's 2 o'clock on twitch.tv/Kyle Ferguson on Sunday, 2 p.m. Pacific. All right, Kristen, let's get into it. This is a special episode this week because we're celebrating holidays left and right. You and I wanted to mix it up today. So let's do it, and let's forge.
Let's forge.
That's right, a special episode bringing you the Thanksgiving Brawl episode where we're going to be talking about brawls tonight.
Yes, the Braxis Brawl has kind of inspired us, I think, with how fun it's been to kind of come up with some more ideas, because the Braxis has shown us what these brawls can be as they expand.
Yeah, and I was thinking about that as we were playing it. Somebody had to be sitting somewhere and just had a great, brilliant idea like, hey, what if we did this as a brawl? And to be able to have the open blank page for them to bring that to, producers or people that would have to, fund it or create it or make it happen. And for those people to be like, okay, I see what you're going with this. Because it's a completely different way of playing this game that we all know and love. So I'm sure it took a ton of work to make happen.
Certainly. And you would hope not too much, though, right? Because we still are working with a tile set that was designed for Braxis. But it does beg the question, how much effort does it take to kind of, it's not randomized, but the layout of the tile set is different from that of the Braxis holdout map.
Yeah, this is semi-related. I was listening to the Angry Chickens interview with some of the developers that worked on the new Kobolds and Catacombs expansion with the dungeon run, and they were making it sound like it takes eons to design something like that, to be able to, make the writing flow with the game and the mechanics and how it all works. And that's like a card game. So in my mind, I think that this Braxis, Escape from Braxis is a full on, they've got to tweak everything to make it happen.
Totally. And they even take certain heroes out of the hero selection pool, which was very interesting, which again speaks to that research and the background work that went into making something like this even work.
Yeah, it's nuts. It's really, really cool. And it's inspiring because it makes me think, what brawls are out there? I mean, when we had the interview with Claudio, one of the producers on Heroes, when brawls were first announced, this was more than a year ago when we had the opportunity to do that. He did tell us that maps for brawls would be exclusive to brawls. There would be some maps that would be like that. So we've seen a couple of them. We've seen the pool party stitches. Now this Braxis, escape from Braxis. There's stuff cooking there too. That's really exciting.
Totally. And you wonder how many are on the back burner that just haven't been implemented yet because they're taking a lot longer to put into a working state than anybody could have predicted.
Yeah, and that's exactly what we are trying to do tonight, is kind of theory craft a brawl centered around the holidays, centered around the time that we're celebrating right now. And it was really fun to come up with some of this stuff. But before we get into some of our ideas, Kristen, why don't you give us an intro to tonight's episode?
All right, so the intro is going to kind of touch on what brawls are. Premiered at BlizzCon, the brawls arrived in the Nexus as a way to let players have fun in a more unstructured environment. While there are still objectives, most enjoy the all-out team fights that happen constantly. Even so, this past week saw the Nexus's first PvE brawl, an escape from Braxis, where 5 heroes are teamed up and must make their way through hordes of infested enemies, only to take down a boss before claiming a victory.
And they can be totally wacky, which is why it's going to be really fun, because the holidays can be wacky. And so I was thinking, you know what? Let's forge a brawl. Let's mix it up here. So let's get into it. Let's get into what our 2 brawls are going to be. And as always, at the end of this episode, you can head over to our Twitter page and you can vote on which one of these 2 brawls you think won the evening. Whether it's one you think was the funniest, whether you think it was one that you want to see in the game tomorrow. Cast your vote at Forge Heroes on Twitter. All right, Kristen, you got to pick first. You got to pick who went first last week. So I'm going to pick this week, and I'm going to pick you. You get to go first this week. So let's start it all off with, what are you calling this holiday-inspired themed brawl?
Well, I think personally the best real-life to heroes ratio for brawls around the holiday season is the Black Friday brawl.
Now, why don't you explain what Black Friday is? Maybe if we have some listeners that aren't living in the United States, what is this all about?
All right. So for those of you that don't know, Black Friday is this shopping holiday, I guess it could be called, where the day after Thanksgiving, stores throw mega sales for Christmas shoppers to get the holiday season kind of going. And so these Black Fridays have been notorious for images of people pushed up against store doors, trampling each other to get in and grab all this stuff. And it's gotten to the point where that's really no longer a thing because stores are opening up Thursday evenings.
Yeah, which is crazy to me. Don't people want to spend time with their families and have, dinner or whatever on... That's Thanksgiving evening that these stores are opening up. But have you ever gone and, waited in line as a Black Friday experience?
I have not, no, and I've never wanted to, but neither has my mom, so I was never in a family. My mom would always talk about how stupid that was and how much of a waste of time it was, but I do have a family member where her and her best friends get together, and that's just something they've done since, I believe, college. So it's more of a tradition in that sense.
Yeah, well, I can tell you, I've experienced it a couple of times, and the one time that sticks out in my memory was in college. We had this brilliant idea that we needed a new TV in our, it was a house that we were renting with a bunch of guys that were living there, and we needed a TV in this house, and we needed a new one. It just so happened that this TV was on sale on Black Friday, so what we decided to do was eat Thanksgiving dinner, hang out, play Fallout all night up until I think it was around 2:30, and then go and wait in line. And we waited in line and we bought the TV, but the moral of the story was the TV that we bought was not like a doorbuster sale for this TV. It was just on sale, and it was on sale all week, not just on Black Friday. So lesson learned.
Well, that's good though. I mean, at least you didn't have to fight somebody for the final TV there. And how long was the line when you got there at 2:30 a.m.? Was it out the door?
It was really, really long. This was before they started opening the night before, and they were handing tickets out for the doorbuster deals, and they got to us, and we said, oh, we're looking for this TV. And he's like, oh, okay, you don't need a ticket for that one. And I guess that should have been the red flag, just thinking, oh, it's not that on sale.
But you got a great story out of it, right? You had an adventure with your friends in college, and now you have this tale to tell.
Yes, so out there, double check it's a doorbuster next year if you're out there, and if you've experienced the same thing, I'm sorry. All right, let's get into some more topics here, talking about Kristen's Black Friday Brawl. Let's talk about hero selection. How does that work in your Brawl?
All right, so with this one, none of the humans. It's all non-humans. This includes Nephilim and any other race that appears to be human, because only the truly depraved shop retail on a holiday.
Absolutely. So we're talking no Varians in there, no Sergeant Hammers. What you're seeing, what about like Tyrande, like Night Elves?
She's still a monster, so she counts. She would be in there.
My beloved Tyrande, the monster.
My TV. My sales.
I love it. I love it. No humans. Okay, no humans. I get it. Okay, what about what level are they going to start at when they come into this brawl?
I think it would be best if they started at level 10 so that you can then put in your talents up to 10 and then choose which heroic you like, just so you can have some adaptability.
Cool. So kind of like what we're experiencing in Braxis, even though in the Escape from Braxis, I don't believe you pick all of your talents, but you pick most of them in between, 1 and 20.
Exactly. Yeah, I think with the first one you pick 4 and then you pick 2 and then you pick the final one right at the end. And I really, really like that, because on certain brawls you only choose the heroic, but a lot of heroes just don't feel fleshed out if they don't have just regular talent tiers behind them.
Totally. And I played a couple of the brawls as KT, trying to see if I could get convection done before the boss, to see if that could, help and in the boss fight. And you can get it done. So yeah, having to choose those talents as you go, especially with the amount of quests that we have in the game right now, is cool.
Yeah, it's very, very nice.
So I am assuming that you imagine this brawl that you're putting together here to be pretty quick if you're starting them at level 10.
Well, I do have a time period predicted, so I want this to be about 24 minutes. So a hefty time. You are going to fight other people, and it's going to be 24 minutes long with 3 rounds, and each of those rounds will be 8 minutes. But maybe it could be shorter. I'm not sure in testing if that would be shortened or not.
Interesting. Okay, tell us what is the objective? What are we doing in this brawl? Where are we set? All of that stuff.
All right. So go with me on this adventure here. We're on a tile set located somewhere in the hellish region of retail. 3 teams of 5 are pitted against one another to see which team will take home the most stuff. Each player begins with 100 gold. This gold is lost upon death and, in order to be picked up, must be channeled. If a shopper can't get their gold or steal it from anyone else in a minute's time, they are grabbed by the store security and made to wait in their starting space until the next round. Now, the goal is simple. Spend more gold than the enemy team. All around this hellish store are items on display, and they have to be channeled to be picked up. Once in the hands of a shopper, they have to be escorted back to that shopper's starting position, their checkout line, as it were. Once across that, the cost of that toy is deducted from the shopper's total gold. And if they don't have enough gold, that toy can't cross their line. All right, and these items that you can pick up, they range from stuffed murlocs to usable items like healing pulses and turrets. If usable, the item must be purchased first before it can be activated. So you have to drag it back to your base, spend the gold to use it, show that you can buy it, and then you can bring it back out and set it up.
Right.
And of course,
You're not like one of those people that like is about to buy a soda, but you're drinking it in the checkout line, and then you scan it after you get through the checkout line.
Exactly. Or you go to the bins, you do the weighted measurement, and you're just eating from the bin treat that you got. They scan after you've eaten half of it, and there you go.
That's a great idea.
Please don't do that to your cashier.
This is incredible. What else?
All right, so the brawl is broken up into 3 rounds of 8 minutes, but to be shortened, right? With the first offering no special items whatsoever, and the last one spawning enough special items to potentially turn the tide of battle. Each shopper's gold amount is replenished at the start of each round. The map is designed in a circle with 4 shopping displays in the middle that rotate. When an item is restocked, players can see terrified grunts placing the latest thing on the display before fearfully running back to the stockroom.
This is great. This is incredible. Okay, so let me see if I wrapped my head around this. So I'm starting this brawl. I have 100 gold in my pocket, right? I'm ready. I'm waiting in line. The gate drops and I run out. And my goal is to try to purchase an item. In order for me to purchase an item, I have to go and channel that item off of this shelf. Now that's where my first question comes in. So I'm standing there, I'm channeling the item. How long does it take to channel? Are we talking like a turn in your coins Blackheart's Bay length of a channel? Or are we talking about like picking up an item in Hanamura's speed channel? What do you think?
Oh, I see what you're talking about. Maybe a nice in-between, right? Because I feel like the Blackheart's Bay would be too long, but at the same time, you want to inspire bloodlust among the shoppers because that inflates the value of the item.
Okay, so here's my next question. Items do have different values. So are you all going after the things that cost the most money? Because if you spend the most money... Or, I mean, I guess there would be a strat there, right? Because you could go for ones that cost less money that nobody's going for and try to get more items that way.
Exactly. And I would imagine the smaller cost items would be in safer positions on the map.
Okay, cool. So you could go one of either way. You could roll as a team. Now, okay, so let's talk about what happens when you die in this brawl. So let's say I've bought an item that costs 30 gold, and I'm going across the line. I turn my item in. It now belongs to me. Bada bing, bada boom. Awesome. I have 70 gold left. I'm running out on the battlefield, and I get killed while I'm going through. My 70 gold drops, or is it 100 gold that drops?
It would be 70 since
Okay,
you
so
just spent 30.
70 drops on the battlefield, and let's say an enemy, Abathur's in the bushes comes out and starts to channel to pick up my 70 gold. He picks up my 70 gold. Abathur gets that gold, so now he has 170, and I can't play anymore in that round.
Correct. Now, you have a minute to try and get your gold back, or kill somebody else for their gold. But if you can't do it within those 60 seconds, mall security comes and they put you in the waiting room because you gotta have money.
Okay, that's awesome. So what you're really inspiring here is shopping chaos, because I'm going to run back out and I have 1 minute. This is not like a corpse run. I'm not running back to pick up my specific gold. I'm running out so that I can pick up gold and not run my credit cards.
Exactly. And I mean, the best part about this is with brawls, everyone's half dead anyway. So there's a good chance you'll probably pick up somebody else's money.
That is so cool. Okay, so you said it's timed, right? So at the end of it is how many items that you purchased. That determines, how much money you spent, the winning team?
Depends on how much each item was. So more about how much total gold was spent is ideally what I'd go for. So how much gold each team spent.
Oh, this is a cool idea. I mean, I really think that it embodies the thoughts of Black Friday and its craziness.
Yeah, right. The whole idea of peace on earth, goodwill to mankind, that's out the window. When you need to buy that TV on sale, nobody else matters.
So the thought is that you're going to pick up the enemy's gold so that you can spend it.
Yeah, totally, right? They fall on the ground, you pick their pockets, and then you go get a few stuffed animals to fill out the tree.
This is great. This is great. So what are you thinking are the Brawl rewards if you manage to win? Is this a best of 3?
Yes, it's a kind of. So maybe not a best of 3, right? So you win the 3 in order to get the reward.
Oh, okay.
But the 3 rounds, you don't necessarily have to win 2. The 3 rounds are going to play out regardless because a team that was behind could spend more gold and take the total lead.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay, so what do you get if you do win the overall?
So if you win and you do that, I think the best reward you could get is a portrait of one of those terrified grunts. The true heroes of Black Friday that keep those stores going, that work through the holidays and sell products.
So describe these grunts in this Heroes Brawl. I mean, you say that they reach out and they restock the shelves and they're terrified because someone else is going to roll in with, a Reinhardt hammer and smash the goods.
Right? And you don't, maybe they'll get caught in a Jaina, Blizzard, Crossfire, nobody knows. I imagine they're the size of the lane minions, and maybe some of them are tiny orcs. We've got a few murlocs in there. We've got some humans. They could be in there as well, but just tinier versions of the characters we know and love.
All right, flash question. Does the store have a name?
Oh, goodness. Does the store have a name? Well, it would have to be Blizzard related. I mean, maybe you could even call it Jinx because everybody's trying to get the same thing at the same time.
Or it's themed after the Blizzard World map in Overwatch, and it's the Blizzard World gift shop Black Friday sale.
Brilliant! That's the crossover they were hoping for. It's sold. This is a confirmed great idea now.
And if you weren't already aware, Overwatch is on sale for Black Friday on the Battle.net app.
Right, but it's online. You set code for it to go on sale. But maybe they have Overwatch. Maybe that's one of the things you could buy.
Absolutely. You could, if you win, you have the opportunity of purchasing something with real money.
I love that idea that you now have the opportunity to buy a few loot boxes to add to your collection. Great job.
It's great. What a great brawl, Kristen. I love this idea of Black Friday craziness standing at the gate, just like so many people do, to run and get those sales. And then you hear on the news that don't even go shopping on Black Friday because the first week of December, the sales are going to be better, or maybe even Cyber Monday where you can do it from the comfort of your own home.
Well, and that's right too. And then online you can cross shop and check prices and everything. So it seems like Black Friday is probably very quickly going to become one of those antiquated things that as we get older, fewer and fewer kids will know about, because back in my day you had to go to stores to get products, but not anymore. I push this button and now I got a candy cane.
Because it's exactly what you should purchase on Black Friday. Awesome brawl. Before we get to my brawl, we have some people that we need to thank. As always, we need to thank our supporters on patreon.com/HeroesForge. Thank you so much to all of our patrons out there. And I can tell you that I am very thankful for all of the support, and I know that Kristen is as well. And this is a time to start talking about everything that you're thankful for.
It really is. And it's a great time, too. It's that end of the year. We remember all of the things we've done. We remember all of the things we've accomplished. And we remember all of the people that have helped us to get where we've gotten.
Yep, and those patrons are some of the people that have helped us get there, so thank you. Also, thank you to everyone that has given us a 5-star review on iTunes. That really helps the show grow as well, so thank you as well. All right, let's hit our second brawl here, our second crazy holiday-inspired brawl for Heroes of the Storm. My brawl name is called Holiday Travel.
Yes, and as you gifted me a great story about Black Friday, I now have a story to give back to you about holiday travel. It's Christmas Day. My family and I live in Jacksonville, Florida. My grandparents live in Orlando, which is a 2-hour drive south. We load up in 2 cars because there are 6 of us, and we start down the road. Halfway, one of the cars breaks down. Right? So what does Dad do? We have this tiny chain in the back of one of the cars with not even like a flip hook catch. It's just a hook that will fall off if you don't have enough pressure between the 2 cars. So we hook them up at a good distance. One of the cars is pulling the other. And so I'm in the driver's seat of one, making sure I'm on the brake or not on the brake based on how much tension this chain needs to have. But eventually we have to pull over. It's not working out. And a very nice cop showed up and said, look, you don't have to just leave the car here for a day. Come back and get it when you can tow it, actually. And Merry Christmas.
That is crazy. I have been in a position like that where I've been the person driving the car that's being pulled, and that is scary stuff because if you hit the brake too hard, you can rip parts of your car out, and if you hit it, if you don't hit it hard enough, you hit the car in front of you.
Yeah, it's crazy. And of course, the hills are the worst part. There aren't hills in Florida, but they do have overpasses that arch, and that is challenging.
There are no hills. There were no hills in Florida until this happened. I mean, don't things like that ever happen to you? Like, oh my gosh, are you kidding? This is the flattest state in the country, except for the fact that today we have to tow this car and there just happens to be a ton of hills.
Oh, exactly. And you think you'll be fine, right? But maybe it was the change. Maybe it was the hills that put so much shock into the car that had never driven on hills before, that it gave it its last little go at life.
Well, as you can see, holiday travel can be crazy. So that was the theme for my brawl, and the hero selection for this brawl is that it's going to be Lucio. And Lucio, and Lucio, all Lucios. You'll be forced to play a version of Lucio that has increased movement speed all the time, as if he was using, amp it up with the movement speed on. So you're traveling fast, and you only have your Q ability, which is the one that pushes players. All the other basic abilities will be picked throughout the match, which I'll explain in a little bit. So you're basically just going really fast, you're able to wall ride still, and you're able to push people with Q.
Oh, interesting. So no heal then.
No heal. No, and I don't foresee in this, and you'll see what I mean in a few minutes, I don't foresee you even needing to heal in this. Maybe you don't even have health. Like maybe you just live on.
Oh, well, that's good, right? I mean, that would be a fun Lucio thing, because then it's only 2 annoyances of his kit instead of 3. It's a Christmas miracle.
Throwing some Lucio shade here on Heroes Forge.
No, he's a great hero. He really is a ton of fun. But you have to admit, when you're up against a good Lucio, those cues are just insulting.
Absolutely. They really are, especially if you're playing Garrosh and you're trying to get in there to get your, maybe you pull somebody in and you're just about to toss them and you get pushed back. Oh, it's crazy. So all of the Lucios in this brawl are going to be level 20, but you're not going to pick any talents. So the level doesn't really matter at all. You're not picking any talents. You're just rolling in there. Everybody's level 20. And it's a PvE brawl in a way. So there's only you're versus 5 people on your team. There's no opposite team. You're just on your own team of 5 people. You're really on your own is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, just like holiday travel, right? I mean, everyone's trying to get where they need to go. And that's it. It's that eagle eye, because and maybe it's because things can be stressful during the holidays that you just need this one thing to go right.
Yeah, there's a lot of things I think that contribute to it as well, because if anything has a possibility of going wrong, it will go wrong when it comes to something crazy like that. So the time limit on this brawl is it's going to take about 10 minutes to complete, and it will be a best of 3 to determine the winner. So something that we see with, those really quick brawls, maybe like, you got to win 2 in order to win the overall. Totally.
And you mentioned with the Lucio, so this is just 5 people total, you versus 4 others, and that's it.
That's it. And there's only one winner at the end of this. So what is it all? We're kind of just outlining it here. What is it? And we all know that holiday travel can be the worst part of the holidays. Trying to get to your plane on time after spending the morning last minute packing is something that people do all the time. Others arrive too early to the airport and they end up playing Nintendo Switch for 4 hours and waiting for their plane to board. Just boredom. The Nexus is no different, and Lucio is flying standby on a full plane that he has to beat the other characters to get to the gate. So that's the whole thought here, is that you're flying standby and you got to get there first.
My blood is already boiling. I'm already stressed out. Oh my gosh, flying standby. And there's only one spot on the plane.
Yeah, now the brawl will be laid out, like the map for this brawl is a very long airport hallway decorated for the holidays. So the hallway is approximately the length of 4 full maps put together. So it is very long all the way across. But it will only be as wide as maybe a half of a lane. So it's narrow and it's long. So at the start of the race, all Lucios will take off from the Hall of Storms and head towards the airplane gate. Throughout their path, they will encounter many obstacles that could hinder them from arriving to their plane first. Some of these obstacles may be a Stitches family blocking the hallway. So, you got Mama Stitches, Daddy Stitches, 2 baby Stitches, and they're blocking the hallway, and you can't get through unless you wall ride up on the side to avoid them.
That's fantastic. I think everybody who has flown has been stuck behind that family, right? And they're not being malicious about it. They're just trying to do what they can with their kids, but you're sitting there, I have got 1 minute to catch my flight. Get out of the way.
That's right. And you only have vision in this hallway for the normal length of vision. So as you're, booking it down this hallway, you'll see this Stitches family in the hall, and you'll think, I've got to go up on the side, kind of like, one of those iPhone games where you have to really, just be really aware of what's going on around you.
Yeah, I like this. So it's a racing game, simple, just kind of at its core, with one of the fastest heroes in the Nexus. And the fact that it's so narrow means that competition is just going to be brutal.
Oh yeah, and there are a few other obstacles in your way. So you'll also run into skyway walkways that will be traveling in all different directions. So these are your conveyor belts, right, from our everyone's favorite map, Volsky Industries. So these conveyor belts, if you've been to the airport, you know what I'm talking about. You can stand on it and it'll take you in a certain direction. On your right.
Exactly. And if you've never lived in a big city, you don't know how to properly go on these conveyor belts. The whole idea is that if you've never done public transit in a big city with those types of things, even in an airport, do this. It's good manners. You stay on the right. So the people going faster than you on the left have space to go by without accidentally being rude to you because they need to get somewhere.
Yep. And so the third idea for a obstacle in your path would be Diva pulling a cart of all of her luggage down the hallway. So, but this thing is, the cart is so big and she's so small that it's kind of going from side to side. Like it's, she's pulling it and she's like, oh man, I should have, maybe the luggage is her mech or all of her like cosplay costumes or something. And she's like hitting both walls trying to, yank this thing. So it's really unpredictable what side it's going to be.
I love this idea. This is Mario Kart, but with Heroes of the Storm. All of your favorites are there doing the things you wish they wouldn't do. But, maybe they would. This is awesome. And I love the idea that Diva has all of the luggage. I love that image because she would. She absolutely would.
I'm glad you brought up Mario Kart because it's about to get a little crazy. So throughout the race, the Lucio players will need to choose when to wall ride to avoid these obstacles. To entice players not to wall ride all the time, there will be loot chests on the battlefield that if a Lucio player runs over them while skating in the hallway, will give them items that he can use on other players. So let's talk about some of these items. The first one is called a Nullgate drop. So this is Probius's Nullgate. that you get as an item. This is probably the epic item. I should have saved this one for last. But you drop it and it puts a wall-to-wall null gate up behind you, and other Lucios that are running can't get through it without that slow.
Would you say this is the blue shell equivalent?
No, we'll get to the blue shell. Because this is getting behind you. So you're dropping it and it's like behind you, where I'll tell you in a second. So the second item you can pick up is black heart coins. So you can pick up two different kinds of coins, a silver coin or a gold coin. If you pick up a silver coin, it shoots in a straight line down the hallway. If you pick up a gold coin, it takes out the next closest target to you. So we're talking red and green shells.
There we go. You got to have them. Will they rotate around you? Will you have a certain amount of time to launch them before they disappear?
That's a good question. I don't think so. I think it'll work. Well, see, that's how you min-max in Mario Kart, is you pull out your shells and you have them spinning around you while you pick up another item, right? So yeah, let's do that. We can't fall below that.
Yeah, right. And then if you have my favorite was to hold the green shell in the ready to shoot, because then it covered your rear. So if somebody had red shells behind you, you were good.
Yep, that's min-maxing to the max right there. I love it. So the third item you can pick up is skate rockets. That'll boost your speed for a short amount of time. So we're talking about, you just hit it, it boosts your speed for a short amount of time and you keep going. I'm acting like these are all, unique.
unique to Heroes. They are unique to Heroes, and I love this idea.
Okay, here's one that takes the form of the Mario Kart bullet, right? So for those of you that don't know, the Mario Kart bullet, if you're in last place and you pick up an item, you have the ability to get this bullet that'll come and transforms you into a bullet, and it races you to like third place. And you hit people as you're going through and stuff. So in Heroes, this would be called the rideshare driver that picks you up in a golf cart and takes you to like third or second place from the back.
Please tell me the entire time you hear the beep, beep, beep.
Maybe there's also like an old lady in the passenger seat of this golf cart that's taking you through, like with the cane waving it at other people.
Right. She's smacking players as you go by. And maybe she's the reason you have to get off, right? Because you hit her terminal, so they have to let her get off. And that's when you keep going forward.
That's it. That's the fantasy right there. I love it. Now, on to your blue shell, Kristen. This last item is called the Hammer of Justice, and it's going to drop on the leader out in front and stun them. This is the true leader seeker. As you're going through, if you pick up that blue shell and hit the button, whoever's in the front is getting stunned.
I like it. And it gives a catch-up mechanic if used correctly and everything. Now, based on your position first to fifth, are you more likely to get certain drops?
Yes, I do believe so. So that's just like in Mario Kart, where you're more likely to get different kinds of items depending on where you are in the pack. So I think the null gate is something that's really powerful in this, because that thing in Heroes slows you way down.
Yeah, and it feels like you're walking through miasma, kind of. It lasts for so long through that null gate, too. I mean, it's great for zoning, but darn it, when you are 3 levels ahead and you have to push through one of those just to fight where the fight's going on, you just wish you could break one of the sides so you could cancel its effect and win harder.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. The items, all of the, obstacles that you're trying to overcome in this, airport hallway decorated for the holidays are just the beginning, because also you can't forget that you still have your queue. And how crazy would it be at the very beginning of the match, 3, 2, 1, start, everybody just pushing each other around.
Right, and I mean, okay, so are they lined up shoulder to shoulder, or is there a position you start in, like in Mario Kart?
Oh, I think you'd line up. Maybe there is a position, because it is best of 3, right? So maybe on the first one you're lined up in a straight line, the second one you line up in the qualifying positions. I don't know.
Yeah, and what if 3 different people each won, how do you do a tiebreaker?
Then those 3 people race each other, and whoever wins. That's the 4th race.
The fourth one, would the other 2 get to stick around and watch? Because that would really be the icing on the cake there.
No, they get to play, but they get to play as all of the obstacles. So they get to play as the Stitches family, they get to play as everybody else, and they just kind of walk around the hallways. And maybe there's more than one Stitches family, there's like a ton of families in there, whatever. They get to choose what they want to be.
Even better. And let's make it crazier. You get to choose where you drop the trap.
Yeah, all that stuff, you would get to choose it.
It would be great. It was like you see the little transparent thing, the outline of it, and you like it, so you put it down, and then you have fun getting back at that one jerk who busted you in the face right before you got on your flight.
That's right, and hopefully that one person makes it to the flight and gets to fly standby. But if you do happen to win this brawl out of the best of 3, the players are rewarded with a special Lucio skin that has him dressed in an ugly Overwatch holiday sweater.
I love it. Now, would the sweater have the sleeves ripped off?
Oh, yeah, because he doesn't really wear sleeves, does he? Or unless they're like long Under Armour sleeves, right?
Yeah, that's true. That's true. So I guess he does wear... I just didn't know if that was a thing of Lucio's or not.
I don't know. We can make it a thing if we want.
That's true. We totally could. Let's make it a thing.
Okay.
I think he's proud of his arms, and even in the coldest of winters, he'd want to show them off.
That's right. I mean, he is pretty buff and, a roller skater.
Yeah, exactly. And you need less drag when you're going, and the long sleeves would only slow him down.
So that is my brawl there, the holiday travel brawl, where we're just trying to make it from one end of the airport to the other end, and we just happen to have 4 other Lucios that are trying to do the same thing, and a whole lot of things in our way.
Yeah, and I'm voting for this one this week, because it's good when you're angry when you hear the brawl name. Before you even hear what the brawl is about, you are reminded of things you tried to bury.
Yeah, and that's how I feel about your Black Friday brawl. I mean, this is a 50-50 here. It's going to be all of our listeners out there that are going to decide which one of these 2 brawls is the better of the 2. Cast your vote. And with that, we can say that these brawls have been forged. Oh man, so fun to talk about brawls on this show. There's been a couple of other times we've gotten to talk about brawls and what our ideas would be. This is my favorite so far.
I would agree. It's a lot less intimidating than map construction, because map construction is pretty intense. There are so many factors you have to take into account, but with a brawl, it's kind of like a bite-sized map, where you can be a bit more goofy because the MOBA rules don't really matter so much.
Absolutely, and that's why it's a lot of fun. That's why it's really cool to see things like this Escape from Braxis. I really hope that we see more PvE content in Heroes of the Storm. We talked about that when we were at BlizzCon. I really want to see more boss fights. I want to see things that, get really hard. Like, what if Escape from Braxis had multiple difficulty levels that you could pick?
That would be really cool, because right now for a challenge, everyone's doing speed runs to see how quickly you can get through it rather than the difficulty setting. But I like that idea. That would be fantastic.
Oh, yeah.
Because then, and what if the what you got changed based on how difficult it was?
Totally. And they could totally do weekly rewards like they do in World of Warcraft. You could go through and there could be a normal, heroic, mythic. They could even go mythic plus. They could build that all out where people are, trying to complete a higher level mythic plus. So at the end of the week, when they log back in on Tuesday, they can open up a chest and maybe it has a legendary in it. Or maybe they get more than one chest because they did it on a different difficulty level. Or if they do it with a full team, things happen, and you could really blow this up.
Yeah, totally. And I don't know about you, but when I play against AI, it is so relaxing because I feel like I finally just get to lounge about with a character and take my time getting to know them and figuring out things I didn't know before because I'm not up against people of or better than my skill level. So I'm not having to outsmart somebody who's got hours and hours and hours in it. I'm simply getting to know my hero in a combat setting. And then I think that would translate probably very healthily to the game itself.
Oh, absolutely. And I think it's those low intensity things that help me, someone like me, learn what's going on in the game as well. So more of it. And one thing that John and Kyle were talking about while we were doing the stream was that it is a bummer that you don't get to show off your awesome skins that you have purchased for your characters, because like they said, it is something that you show off when you're in World of Warcraft, jumping in that raid on the first week, showing the full set you got from the last raid.
It's so true. I mean, I played Gul'dan. He's my favorite in this brawl so far, but I keep getting that plain green skin. Like, no, I want the spider skin, please.
Oh, I think there will be something coming in the future as well with these brawls and more PvE stuff. I just want to see that tab at the top. I want to see that tab that just says single player or whatever it says up there to, get your groups together to get out there and play some PvE content, because we are having a ton of fun with this. Bravo again, Blizzard. All right, Kristen, before we call this show completed, there has been a lot of talk on the interwebs about what hero we think is coming next. Now, barring any sort of leaks that have happened, what do you expect? And I'll tell you, one of the things I heard on Reddit was people are trying to draw conclusions from the Dragons video. At the end of the Dragons video, the last Nexus portal that opens up is the High Heavens, right? So is something going to pop out of the High Heavens? Are we going to see maybe another angel join the battle?
To be honest, I haven't really given it a thought because I'm so excited for Hanzo to come to the Nexus. I feel like Hanzo's going to be my Chromie, right? He doesn't really fit many places, but I'm going to learn how to play him and play him really well so that I make him fit. But anyway, that's besides the point. So after Hanzo, well, it won't be Overwatch. I think there's going to be a break from that for at least a little bit, at least maybe the next 3 heroes. Diablo is up for one, but at the same time, StarCraft, I think, is long overdue for a hero. And who wouldn't want a hero that shoots fire and probably smokes a cigar, too?
That would be pretty awesome. And I think they asked the question at BlizzCon that if the Firebat was brought into Heroes of the Storm, they'd give him a cigar. Would they give Tychus the cigar back?
And they would give the Firebat Tychus's cigar. That was probably one of the best answers. And I wonder if it was improvised that first day and just caught like wildfire, or if they came up with it because where is Tychus's cigar has been a question.
Yeah, I think it was improvised, and I'm going to leave it like that because I think it's way funnier if it is. But this rumor was talking about Imperius, and maybe something like that is going on inside the Nexus. Who knows? We will have to wait to find out more information, which is why this game is so awesome. All right, before we call the show, Kristen, where can people find you in the interwebs when you're not doing HeroesForge?
In the interwebs, you can find me at Dream Destroyer. That is DRMDESTRYR over at Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, and Instagram.
Very cool. Check out all of Kristen's streams. If you're looking for me, you can find me right here on HeroesForge. We record the show live every Sunday night at 7 p.m. Pacific on twitch.tv/Amove TV, because we are a part of the Amove TV podcast and entertainment network. Make sure you check out amove.tv for more great esports and video game podcasts. They got World of Warcraft shows, they got Hearthstone shows, they got Heroes of the Storm shows, obviously. They got shows about games that aren't even in the Blizzard universes. They got shows about movies. They got tons of stuff. Check it out. Amove.tv. A huge thank you to them, as we are grateful to be a part of that awesome community. You can download this show on any of your favorite podcasting apps, including iTunes, Stitcher, or Google Play. And if you're looking for more information on our show, check out our website. HeroesForge.club is where we have all of our previous episodes posted of all of the awesome stuff that we've done over the last 2 years. Check it out, HeroesForge.club. Follow us and cast your votes on Twitter at Forge Heroes. Thank you again to all of our patrons at patreon.com/HeroesForge. I think I got it all, Kristen.
I think you did too. Great job. Did it.
It's almost like I've been doing this for 2 years.
Almost. It just rolls off the tongue by this point.
It does. Make sure that you're following us on Twitter for any updates on our 100th episode and also updates on the holiday schedules as we move towards some crazier times and holiday travel with Black Friday shopping.
At the same time, could you imagine if plane tickets were sold in airports on Black Friday for super discounts?
Ooh, I know that they do deals on Cyber Monday for planes, for flights. So if you're looking for flights, make sure you're checking it out on Monday.
I didn't actually know that. I thought it was just video games and computer parts and all that.
We're going on a trip. Check out all the awesome stuff on our website, HeroesForge.club. Get some good deals on Cyber Monday. Hope you got some good deals on Black Friday and got to spend some awesome time with your friends and family. We will catch you all in the real world.